Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All righty, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Boy, we got lots to get to today. It still is a victorious week here in Tampa Bay for our Buccaneers. Todd Bowles talked yesterday, updated some of the injury issues as they have a quick turnaround for Atlanta. So we'll talk lots about that game coming up. Big night in the NFL last night. Some weird storylines busting out, but we did learn this. The Bucs are really good. We'll explain. Pete Rose, we'll have some conversations on that as well. I got a big show lined up for you. Tim Ham joins me here, another old head, so you'll be useful in speaking about Pete Rose this morning. Good morning to you. How are you?
It's a sad day in the Ham household here in DFW, JP. Pete Rose, man, maybe my second favorite ball player of all time.
He was mine for a long time. He was mine. And we'll get to that in just a second. And and he has a profound impact in the city of Tampa, being with the Reds and training here for many, many, many years. So many people in Tampa, us old heads, have stories. I wasn't here when he was playing here, but many of my contemporaries and friends were, and I've heard thousands of stories, good and bad, mostly bad, but a lot of good ones as well. So we'll get into that. And, he was a very complex man, which makes him so fascinating to discuss, and we shall do that. We've got updates at FSU. DJU is now co-starter, as Brock Glenn is on the depth chart the head coach puts out but does not care about. What? But now a co-starter with the "or" next to his name. So that's good. And what else we got? We talk a little Rays today. Baseball begins. The playoffs begin. When I guess the playoffs started yesterday with the Mets and the Braves. That first game watched a little bit of that. Holy heck. Watched the highlights. That was a great baseball game. Got me juiced a little bit for the playoffs.
Love playoff baseball.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I got a little juiced. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, a little back and forth. Little dramatic ending. Lindor with the home run. So, yeah. I forgot. My joy of baseball has been sucked out of me by Stu Sternberg, but hopefully it can be replenished by a little exciting playoff baseball. Smoltzy got me a little excited last week when he came on the show and started talking about the Phillies. And I'm kind of like, who do I adopt? I might adopt the Phillies. I know this is crazy. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. I know. But there's something, but other than the fact that they're in Philly, but Schwarbs, they got a lot of guys on that team I kind of like. I like the way they play ball. It's very Pete Rose-esque, to be honest.
Yeah, very much so.
The way they hustle and they play good, they clean baseball, not a lot of the shenanigans going on. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't made a final decision on who I'll adopt, but I'm leaning Philly.
All right, I'll allow it. It's gross. It's Philly. It's a Philadelphia-based team, but
I did celebrity bartend with Schwarbs one time, and he was very kind to me. We had a great time, even though there was only one celebrity behind the bar. But that he was,
and that was you, is what you're saying.
Of course, duh. Jesus, it's my show.
Exactly.
Now, there's some people that will take that wrong. It's a joke, people. It's a joke. All right. Anyway, and John Clark's going to join us from NBC Philly. Always fun to have him on the show. He'll be on at 10:15. TJ Reeves, another old head who will have tons of Rose stories. We'll get to him at 11:30. Matt Matera from the Piuta Report will join us at 11:15. So we got a great show for you. So let's dive right in, Timmy. And I want to do Bucs injuries first. It looks like it's not going to be a whole lot of change. We don't know yet, but Vita Vea played obviously last week, but his mate Kalijah Cansey looks like he did not practice yesterday. He has been sprinting, we've been told, but didn't practice yesterday, so that's a bit of a negative. Servassier Dennis, their fine young linebacker who is playing really, really good football, has a shoulder injury, came off the field the other day that Bowles described as pretty bad. So that's not good. Looks like he's going to miss significant time for the second year in a row. You're not going to get any impact from that player who's just pretty damn good player. So a lot of the other stuff is really up in the air. the Falcons have a few injuries, Bijan Robinson being one of them. That's a big one. So we'll be jumping more into that game as we go through, but and we'll talk some Bucs obviously with Matty Matera and TJ coming up, and John Clark, who will wrap up the Eagles game. By the way, did you see that quote from Jalen Hurts after the game? He was asked about, this off week, how he's going to spend it with Sirianni, getting some things straightened out. What's your relationship like? And he's like, we have our moments.
Yeah.
You imagine that coming out of the mouth of Baker Mayfield regarding Todd Bowles?
God,
like in
so
a city like
dysfunctional,
Philadelphia,
man.
So dysfunctional.
We have our moments.
Couldn't happen to a better place.
Exactly.
Bye, Eagles, bye. All right, so let's jump into this Pete Rose thing.
Okay.
As with many of us of my age, Pete Rose was an icon for us growing up. Watching him play baseball, he was the epitome of his nickname, Charlie Hustle, and we loved it. And this was back in the days when things like hustle and playing hard and showing up every day and being prepared were lauded. Those were back in the the old times when those qualities were something that you really look for in people in a ball player, right? And you wanted to emulate that. That's not so much anymore.
No.
Shortcut society. But Pete Rose was like a lot of us. Wasn't very big, wasn't superhuman, like Junior Griffey, didn't have all the great athletic talent. The dude willed himself into being the greatest base hitter of all time, surpassing Ty Cobb, a record that many said would never be broken. My fondest memory is back in the 70s. Was it the hit streak? And 44-game hit streak, second to Joe DiMaggio. And me and my brother, this is when I was living out in California. So I think it was like 79, 80. Me and my brother said, I'm like, come on, man, we got to go see Pete Rose. He's playing down in, was it San Diego? I think we went to San Diego. And we wanted to see him. It was part of the hit streak. I think it was hit number 38 in the hit streak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was a fairly empty stadium, as I recall, the Murph, right? Back in the day. And, but it was, there we were cheering him on right behind the visiting dugout. And in his third at bat, he drew a walk. I remember I think he drew a walk in his first at bat, grounded out in his second at bat, in his third at bat. Nice soft liner to left field, opposite way, batting left-handed. That's just trademark. I think that's what his 3000s hit was too. A little looper to it, but just serving it out into left ear. As Bogsy used to say, wait, wait back, wait on the pitch, just serve it to left field. And we saw what we came to see. It was part of history. And he was just my batting style was like his, level bat at back behind, right? The bat behind. So I slid head first into every base. Of course, you had to do that. That was mandatory.
I don't do that anymore either, man.
Well, so you had to, and no oven mitts. He wasn't wearing any oven mitts.
No,
I don't know if he ever jammed a finger, and if he did, he went out and played the next day anyway. Didn't matter.
You'd never know it if he did. Yeah,
you never know if he had a broken finger. You'd never freaking know it. And that was the legacy of Pete Rose, and that's why we freaking loved him. And and so as life goes on, he becomes a manager, and we hear the stories in the Dowd report, and he was gambling on his team, and he was an obsessed gambler and was to his final days living in Las Vegas, doing signing anything that could possibly be signed for a shilling. Just the biggest shill that you've ever seen in your life. And if you ever came about a project, if you did an interview with him or anything else, it was tough. It was tough. He was a very gruff man. And even though he issued an apology, it was never very sincere.
No.
And I've struggled with this all my life. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? And the fact of the matter is he is in the Hall of Fame. He is in the Hall of Fame. All of his memorabilia is there. He is not in the plaque room. And
he's not represented. Yeah.
He's not represented in the plaque room. He does not have a plaque. And that's because he broke the rules, the very explicit rules against gambling on your team and a team you manage, which puts the credibility of the game completely in doubt. And I know people don't understand this, and I know they don't get it. But back in the day, as with all those great attributes that he represented, that we loved and cherished so much, there was another attribute that we cherish so much, and that's honesty, and that's integrity, and that's playing by the rules. Society needs that to be successful. Civilization needs that to be successful. There are rules that we've all decided should be followed. There are stupid rules, no question about it. There are dumb rules, and we try to change them. We try to do better. That's why our Constitution has lived for almost 250 years. It's available to make changes. The rules in baseball available to make changes. If we have a nice civil discussion about it, we all decide this is a pretty good idea. But this has always been a rule in baseball and will forever be a rule in any sport. You cannot wager on your sport. And you shouldn't be wagering on other sports either, because then you get into debt, and then the guys that run the books come to you and say, hey, I need you to put this pitcher in instead of that pitcher today, or this pitcher. When it comes to maybe a situation, you should probably do this. And if you don't think Pete Rose ever did that, gun to my head, I'm going to say he probably did.
Mm-hmm.
Probably did.
And he admitted it.
Yeah, he admitted to a lot of it. Yeah. So it's complicated. It's so complicated. And please, baseball writers, do not posthumously put him in. That's only to mollify your own conscience. And you don't get that. You don't get that.
I think it's going to happen.
You do?
I think without question it's going to happen, because
I think it's weak sauce. I think it's complete weak sauce.
What was it called? It was called a lifetime ban. He's dead now. His life is over. The ban is over. I think he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame posthumously.
Yeah, you may be right. And I'll be honest with you. If he goes in, I'm not going to, go on a hunger strike.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? Okay, fine. I really don't care.
Yeah.
But it's for the terms of, debate. I think that it matters. Rules matter. Following the rules matter. Oh, but there's so many, steroid guys, wife beaters, cheats, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it. But as stupid as it sounds, it's dumb as it sounds, if, some pitcher that can throw 105 miles an hour, squeezes off 10 shots in his garage, to intimidate his girlfriend, that's deplorable behavior.
Right.
It's deplorable behavior. Beating up your wife, that's deplorable behavior. Having sex with minors, not a good idea. Deplorable behavior. But in the weirdest way, and it's not, what's morally or ethically, we're not weighing that. It's just, does that go to the credibility of the game? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, which goes to tell you that, money means more to the people that are making the rules, and the integrity of the game, how they make their money, is important. So you got to separate the two. I kind of get it, and I understand it, but I understand the arguments on both sides.
Yeah, and I've always been, and there's no bigger baseball fan than me, JP. You know that. That's my number one sport.
Yeah, you watch games you don't even care about.
I do. I watch just random games for no reasons from start to finish, from opening pitch to final out, but that don't even have anything to do with my team. And I learned this at a very young age as a baseball fan. My favorite player in the entire world is Ty Cobb. He
was really an asshole.
There might not be a more deplorable, sick human being that ever existed than Ty Cobb.
Yeah, he was a wife beater. He was a misogynist.
And a racist. And
a racist. Horrible racist. Oh, my God. Yeah.
And it is not – and look, and I found all of that stuff out about him very late in my baseball fandom, before the stupid Tommy Lee Jones movie and all that, whatever. That was one of the worst movies ever made about a sports person. But it's not called the Hall of Integrity. It's not called the Hall of Good Guys. It's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the bottom line, and again, look, this is not a hard line at all. It's like you said, it's complicated, and I get it. Do I think Pete Rose deserves to be represented in the Hall of Fame? And like you said, he kind of is, because literally every accomplishment he ever had is there.
He's a very big part of it.
If he just doesn't have the plaque. which I think he deserves, because you cannot tell the story of baseball without him being mentioned somewhere along. He's the all-time hits leader, for God's sake. September 11th, by the way, 1985. Reds versus Padres. Eric Show was the pitcher. I know all of this stuff, right? It's like we all seen the video footage of it on that stupid, horrible carpet.
Oh,
they used
when
to
the
have
ball
there.
bounces 30 feet when it hits, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. But dude, I don't know. He's the all-time hits leader, 3-time World Series champion, World Series MVP, 17-time All-Star, NL MVP, 3-time batting champion.
It's good.
Those are ridiculous numbers.
Those are good numbers.
So, yes, he deserves to be in the Hall, in my opinion, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, represented with a plaque, and I think it's going to happen. I still, look, and I get it. He bet on his own team. He bet on baseball when it's still illegal, but now it's more accepted, kind of. But so did over half the guys probably in the Hall of Fame did other deplorable, unspeakable things.
Yeah.
And I don't think
he did it so overtly, and he did it as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for a long period of time, and then he lied about it for a long period of time. So it was just, and he never felt like his apologies were sincere, because he didn't think he really did anything wrong. I get it.
100%. And you know what?
I get it.
Maybe
I could go either way, but if I have to take a stand, I'm like, rules matter.
Yeah,
credibility of the game matters.
And I get all of that too. And maybe my most hated baseball player that I think affected the game more negatively than Pete Rose, and more negatively maybe than any other person in the history of baseball, at least that I'm familiar with, is Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
I can't stand him. I think he's trash. I think every possible negative idea that you can have is how I think of Barry Bonds. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely, he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, we're going to disagree on this one too. But
look, the way I look at it is I can't, just because I like Pete Rose and I don't like Barry Bonds.
You have to start compromising your values. I don't have to start compromising my value. I'm consistent.
Yeah, I don't have values. We know this.
But
right, yes,
once again, you're breaking the rules.
Yeah,
you're breaking the rules.
I know.
All right, so let's take a break. We get to John Clark and be thoughtful of his timing situation here. So quick break. We'll get Johnny in. We'll talk some Bucs Eagles from both sides. Might even throw some Phillies in there, right? He might have a thought on Pete Rose or two. Yep. Phillies are my pick to win the World Series, and I think I'm adopting them. I think
nice.
I'm hugging them up. They're Clearwater zone, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, folks. If you have any issues with your insurance company during this recovery, which is going to be long and hard, and you probably will have issues, call the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They'll give you a free case evaluation. If they can't handle your case expertly, then they will refer to you somebody who will handle it expertly. And that means something as well. They know who the good ones are. I've talked to Scott about this. It really, really matters. There are good attorneys. There are great attorneys, which he is one, and there are bad attorneys. Don't get with a bad attorney. That's a bad idea. So call the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. He's already vetted them. And tell him JP sent you. Back at 3. September is here, and it's time to celebrate with the stunning birthstone of the month. It's Sapphire at the Gold and Diamond Source. Known for their natural beauty and glamorous allure, Sapphire's truth, sincerity, and faithfulness make it the perfect stone for September. During the 40th anniversary, you can find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and its quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or just to treat yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. At the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance, make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez in Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. Breaking news, according to our good friend Pat Burnham at the Osceola, Brock Glenn will start for Florida State against Clemson Saturday night. Another mismanaged situation by Mike Norvell. Should have started Brock last week at SMU. Should have given him reps all year long. Now he's going to go into this game against Clemson thrown to the wolves. Well done. Whew. All right.
Yeah, bad news.
We got John Clark on from NBC Philly. What's up, Johnny? How are you, my friend? You made it back safe?
Oh, yeah, we are back in Philly just to get back to all of the Eagles fans asking about the job security of the head coach, Nick Sirianni. So when you're 2-2 in Philly and play like that, there are a lot of questions up here.
Oh, so the Bucs got getting Sirianni fired. You can thank us for that then.
Well, right now, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and the Eagles are 1-4 against the Bucs. So Todd Bowles certainly has their number over these last 3 years.
By the way, thank your dad for me. I know you're taking him to the hospital as you do this, so I hope he gets well. Everything goes well. Thanks, Pop, for letting him chat with us for a little bit.
You got it.
Yeah, so when I saw this on Get Up this morning, and I'm sure you were there in the press conference when Jalen was asked about his relationship with Sirianni and what they're going to do in the next couple of weeks, and he said, "We have our moments." Like, how did that reverberate through Philly football fan?
Yeah, there's always these little odd comments from Jalen Hurts when he's talking about Nick Sirianni. And for the most part, obviously he deals with Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, Doug Nussmeier, the quarterback's coach, and he deals with the offensive coaches. And Nick Sirianni really has stepped out of that. Kellen Moore is running the offense, but there probably still is a little bit of a personality difference between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Jalen, I just don't think likes Nick's boisterous personality. Jalen is more reserved and tries to stay calm in all situations. So Jalen, in my opinion, he doesn't do the best job of hiding that. And so these little snippets always pop up. But do I think it's going to, in the end, affect everything greatly? No, because Kellen Moore is running the offense with Jalen Hurts. And that's really the relationship that you need to be strong at this point.
Yeah, true. Well, Johnny, I think Buck fans want to know, is this a bad Eagles team that we beat, or are the Bucs that good? I mean, you look at the Bucs record so far, 3-1. They beat a 3-1 Washington team that nobody else seems to be able to beat. And Jaden Daniels, the win over Detroit looks really good. Look what the Lions did last night. The Denver game obviously was a disaster, but they beat a good Philly team. I thought Philly was a good football team. Are they, or did we just push around a bunch of meatheads that are poorly coached?
Look, I think that the Eagles will eventually be a good football team. I think what happened Sunday was a perfect storm where you had some big-time injuries on the Eagles' offense. And then defensively, I'm just stunned that the Eagles' defense allowed it to be a rerun of the last two playoff games. What did Tom Brady and what did Baker Mayfield do in the other two playoff games? The quick game. Get that ball out quick to the number one read, top read that he's looking for. And to me, I understand Vic Fangio. He is tremendous at what he does. He likes to play the safeties back and then give the receivers a little bit of room, not give up the big play. But to me, I'm thinking in that situation, when they are playing the quick game, you got to get a jam. You got to reroute the receivers in some way and make Baker Mayfield get to his second read. I saw the stat that Baker, the average time getting the ball out was 2 seconds, fastest in the NFL this year. So to me, the Eagles defense played right into their hands and did not adjust. Yeah.
And the Bucs did the same thing against Bo Nix the week before. It's like, I do not understand. And both these guys know how to coach defense. I don't get it, but it's weird.
You got to make adjustments at that point, whether it's one corner plays up more and doesn't give as much room, whether it's you jam them, press coverage, whatever. But you got to make some adjustments when Baker is just standing back there. Boom, 2 seconds, balls out to their first read, and then it's a big game. And by the way, the most disappointing thing was the tackling. The Eagles had tackled so well in New Orleans against the Saints, and then it was just awful. So I think it was a perfect storm. I do think the Bucs, I think they are a decent team. I think you've got Baker Mayfield when he's got that chip on his shoulder. You saw how good he can be throwing that football. And then Vita Vea in the middle and Todd Bowles, the defense. I think they're a good team, but I think this is not indicative of where these teams will be in a month or two or three.
John, JP and I have talked a lot about Devin White since he's bolted for the Eagles there, not getting a lot of playing time. I saw him on the injury report as out for personal reasons. Is he going to see the field at all this year in Philly?
Oh, and don't forget, he retweeted a Bucs tweet about Lavonte David getting a caused fumble against his own team during the game. What was the reaction to that? What was the reaction to that, Johnny?
Well, it was quickly deleted because I think he realized that that's not the best thing at this point because he actually plays for the Eagles now and not the Bucs anymore. That was not a smart move. And look, Philly keeps receipts. Somebody screenshots that and they have that now. It is a weird situation with Devin White. He obviously came here and thought he was going to be the starter. He even thought he was going to be the starter as camp was ending. And he said he was pretty surprised that Nakobe Dean was the starter over him. So I think there probably was some disappointment on his part, and maybe it was expressed, and he has been inactive. And then this week, personal reasons. I don't want to judge the personal reasons. I can't say for sure what's going on, but it has been an odd situation. I know he wants to play, so who knows? Maybe at some point he could be traded or even let go, because I believe that he's really disappointed that he's not the starter. He's handled it well publicly, but obviously there's some things going on behind the scenes. And look, Nakobe Dean did not fare well Sunday. He missed some tackles. He didn't take good angles. he had a poor game. So who knows if there could be a change coming there.
Yeah, I can't believe. Well, I actually can believe he would do that. That's exactly what Devin White would do. And there's talk of bringing him home now because Servassier Dennis is going to be out for an extended period of time. I am vehemently against that. Like, want no part of that for the Bucs. But Todd Bowles loves him, so we'll see. Hey, Johnny, wanted to ask you about the Phillies, your Phillies up there. John Smoltz came on our show last week, and he said of all the teams in the playoffs, that's the one he likes the best. He thinks they can win the World Series. What are your thoughts? Where are the Phillies right now?
Well, it's funny because they have the second best record in baseball and the best home record in baseball, but a lot of Phillies fans are nervous because, they lost the last weekend, the series against the Nationals, but they had already clinched. Right. The other thing that makes Phillies fans a little nervous right now is the New York Mets. If they get through the Brewers, the Mets are kind of reminding some Phillies fans of what the Phillies did 2 years ago, where they were the hot team going in, and they just ride that, and they upset some teams. But look, I think in the end, the Phillies have incredible starting pitching, and they might have the best starting pitching in baseball, especially since Chris Sale's going to be out.
Right.
But when you're starting Zach Wheeler every game one of each series, and you're coming with Aaron Nola, you're coming with Christopher Sanchez, and Ranger Suarez has struggled big time, but he is still a big game pitcher. So whether he's starting or coming out of the bullpen, I think that the starting pitching is great. I think the bullpen has been transformed and solidified. The question to me is, will the lineup be consistent? We've seen Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. They're hot going into the playoffs. And Nick Castellanos has had his moments. But you do have some other guys where you see some inconsistent play and inconsistent at-bats, some chasing. So I think that's the big question. Will the lineup be consistent? Because that's what did them in last year at home against the Diamondbacks, is chasing bad pitches and really a bad approach at the plate. So, look, I think they're right there in the mix. And I think starting pitching will dictate who wins. And I think the Phillies have a great shot at getting it done.
All right, before I let you go, what's up with your Philly fans? They showed up in mass. They always do here for the regular season game. And then they got put in the cooker. They got put in the cooker and roasted on that sun side, just like the Eagles. They're all jumping in the ice tub after the game. I think this loss to the Bucs is going to take a hard toll on a lot of your fans. They may still be in the hospital, and maybe a couple of the players as well. It's going to be tough to recover from that heat bath and that ass kicking they took. I'm contractually obligated to say that to you, by the way, by our fans. So nothing personal.
Listen, I got to ask you a question, though, JP. I mean, I was looking out at the stands, and as the game started, I know it was 100 degrees out, but I noticed mostly Eagles fans on that sun side.
Because they're stupid enough to go out in that sun side. That's why we're smart. We're up in the club where it's air conditioning, you idiots.
Well, I will say this. In September, the Bucs have a tremendous advantage because the Eagles players, you're right, a bunch of them cramped up, a bunch of them were in the cold tub getting IVs. That is some serious stuff to deal with in September. But wait till the Bucs have to go up to the Northeast in the cold later in the season. That's when it hits hard.
Yes, it does. I remember it well when we closed down the vet. It hits hard.
Good mic drop.
All right. I hope your dad didn't hear all that. He might be mad at me. I apologize. So thank you for being a great sport, Johnny. Love you. And hopefully we'll get some tennis in next time you're home or here.
Looking forward to it, JP. You're the best down there, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
You're the best, John Clark.
All right, see you.
Just having a little fun there. That was directed at Philly fan, not John Clark, right?
I was like, you just called our guest an idiot live on the air.
No, we called the fans idiots.
I know.
We called them fans.
By the way,
y'all are out there an hour before the game during warm-ups, drinking your beer. They go, my Eagles fly.
So I have a question for you,
and I'm
JP.
like, you idiot, you guys won't make it to the first quarter. You're getting roasted.
As I'm watching Bucs Eagles and the fine presentation from Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady, they're discussing this.
Was it?
I like it. I don't.
Go ahead.
I
didn't mean to.
I don't have a problem. No, you're fine. They're discussing these little canopies, these makeshift canopies over the benches for the players, right, on the Tampa side.
Yes.
And they said Tom Brady developed this when he was here because he's like, guys, I'm not sitting in the sun over here. My question is, football started in Tampa Bay in 1976. It took Tom Brady in 2020 to realize that you need covers over the benches? What the hell?
Tim, I have been talking about this for 20 years. I'm like, why do you guys not have shade on the bench? And I guess there has been a league rule that you can't have a
permanent structure. Yeah.
A permanent structure.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the Philly was holding up stretchers and putting it over their players, like the stretchers to give them shade.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But I never understood that. I've never understood that, quite frankly, why they didn't until a couple of years ago. It's like, that really matters. Like, for whatever reason, the sun is hotter than it's ever been. Like, when you stand in the sun as opposed to the shade, it feels 20 degrees different here in Florida. I don't know why. Somebody told me it's because we've cleaned up the air so much that the sun feels hotter. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. Glad you got those electric cars running out there that are exploding in salt water and burning down homes. That's great. Anybody ever think through that? Nope. So yeah, I think maybe that's it. But why does it take so long? And why can't they? If the home team has it, the visiting team should have it. I mean, I've seen it used a lot more recently, but I'm like, why did it take this long? I mean, and again, I was you drop names. I was at dinner with Sal Pal last night, and I asked him. I said, you know these guys up in the league office. You know tons of these guys, schedulers and all that. And he starts ripping off the names. I'm like, why are they still playing 1:00 games in September in Florida? Man. Like, are we waiting for someone to die? Are we going to have a fan go, or God forbid, a player?
Yeah, it'll be a fan. It won't be a player.
I don't know. But it's going to happen. It's going to, and then we're going to go, oh, now, why do we have to wait? There were ambulances at the stadium. Yes. When we were doing our post-game show, I don't know if they were, I'm pretty sure that was probably for some fans that they had to take out, because I'm telling you, and I joke about these Philly fans, but they were out there an hour before the game and they're all slamming beers. And if you think you could be out in that heat for 4 or 5 hours slamming beers, no, sir. That's not happening. And they're not spending $5 on a water when they can spend $7 on a beer or $11 on a beer.
Look, there's water in beer. Like, that's my philosophy on the golf course. Why am I drinking water? I get my water from the beer that I drink.
Okay. Solid reasoning right there. Solid reasoning.
Well, hydrating well.
Yes, but I'm like, what are we doing? You had two night games last night. Why not have 2 on Sunday? And if you have to schedule a Florida game, a home game in September, it's at least at 4:30, and most of them should be night games. And then we're fine. If fans are fine, it's not cool, but at least it's not that. And that was crazy. And Aaron Andrews, with the keenest sense of humor ever, talking to Baker after the game, she's like, what is it tight? What was it like playing in 107 degrees? He's like, I had to change my pants at halftime. And Aaron goes, I wish I could. I'm like, thanks for the swamp ass talk. That's great. It's brutal. It was brutal. And a couple of the photogs told me, the guys that stayed down there on the field the whole game, lugging them cameras, that it was the hottest they've ever experienced.
Really?
In the game. Yeah. It was bad. It's really bad. And that hurricane, by the way, I said this last week, and I've probably been through easy 50 hurricanes in my life. Probably, it's skirted, one way or another, feeling, they come right over me a few times, or, mostly skirted on the outsides. And then, these things go out 250, 300 miles, right? So always when a hurricane comes through and you get those fast moving clouds that are moving in the circulation, and you can see them, the temperature cools usually into the 70s, sometimes into the 60s. We walked out, and when this was coming through and the winds were whipping, into 60, 70 miles an hour, even over here or closer to Orlando, and it was hot. Timmy, for the first time, I've never felt a hurricane that's hot. Like, never.
Really?
It was hot. It felt like it was a 90-degree day with 90% humidity. It was brutally hot even when it was overcast. I'm like, this is weird. I've never felt one like this. Never. And like it was demonstratively weird. There's something about this storm that was not normal. Something about I'm not going tinfoil hat stuff here, although people seem to think that's a big part of it.
Right.
The seeding of clouds and all this other stuff that we've been doing for years. That's fact. That's fact. They are seeding clouds. They are, they're doing this stuff. We've learned that. But to what degree can they change? I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a sec. I've said that about a lot of things that turn out to be true in the past 5 years. So, but I will tell you that's something, from coming from an old head that's been through a lot of these things, that was really, really different. And obviously the damage was colossal and epic and, historic. And I tell you what, the stories that are being put on social media about the lack of FEMA response, like FEMA is not on the ground. We've heard this from tons of people, real people doing videos. We've heard it from truckers that normally get the call. These truckers are they're part of a network. They have distributors and routers that call them. Yep. Like if you have a truck and say, and during disasters, they'll say, okay, go to this warehouse. FEMA wants you to pick up pallets of water and bring it to Fort Myers. And they get paid extra money for this. So truckers are always looking, when these things happen, they do well because they get these FEMA contracts. The truckers are like, where are the FEMA contracts? There's no FEMA contracts. Where are they? What the F is going on? And all the people are saying there's no disaster response. I mean, this is bizarre shiz that's happening. Bizarre. Don't we start all these people talking about we're sending money to all these other countries and we're not responding to Western North Carolina. DeSantis says Florida's in good shape, and we've got the power back on, and he did a great job with that, fantastic job. And he's actually sending resources to North Carolina because we're on a better side of it now. When it comes to the insurance part of it and cleanup, that's going to be a whole nother deal. But what the hell's going on with that? That's just criminal. I
saw someone post on X. How many other countries are jumping at the opportunity to send us money in relief efforts for the hurricane? Oh, wait, none? Maybe we should stop sending money to them for stupid stuff. So it's
hundreds of billions of dollars. And we have so much that needs to be done at home, and we're broke.
We don't have the money to be
we're lending
other
money.
Countries.
We're giving money to other countries to protect their borders while we're doing nothing about our own and sending and not paying for the issues that we have here, not even balancing our budget. Like, how does that work?
Just ignoring everything here so we can help other people.
Like, could I go to a bank and the bank be insolvent? Say, yeah, we owe trillions of dollars, but we'll lend you money and you don't even have to pay it back. Oh, wow. That's a nice bank. I don't think it's going to be in business very long, but it's awful nice of them.
Never happened.
Weird. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to get into this FSU thing. DJU has been benched or he's got an injury. So we'll get into that. Yeah, I saw an x-ray. That was pretty funny. I'll tell you about when we come back. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo is the man over there. We talk about medicine 3.0. So if you want your medicine personalized and someone to actually look after you and keep you healthy, that's probably where you should be with your primary care physician. BAMMC.com. Make an appointment today. You will thank me later. Back in 3. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at RogersParkGolf.net. That's RogersParkGolf.net. See you there.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Man, how many times have we said on this show, make sure you have flood insurance. You just don't need homeowners insurance. Flood insurance is separate. So many people are finding out about that now. I never thought it would flood here. Mother Nature. It's Mother Nature. And you live in a red state, so be careful. I'm heartbroken at it, but don't let it happen to you. If you escape this time, make sure you call Italiano and get your flood insurance. 813-877-7799. They'll shop it around, find you the cheapest they can. Get it now because rates are going to go up. You know that. So if you don't have it, go get it now. Immediately. 813-877-7799. If you're going to live in Florida or hell, North Carolina or anywhere, you better have it. And thanks to Italiano Insurance for being such a great supporter of this particular show.
JP, before we get into our next topic, did I tell you I was on? I made my social media prowess made NFL Network on Sunday.
Yes, that was awesome. Tell the folks. You have the clip? Can you share?
I do. So they were doing this weird thing. They always do goofy stuff. That's why I like that presentation over there. You know, other than some other options that you have.
Network.
Yeah, early in the mornings. And so they were, it kicks off week 5, kicks off London, right? So they were doing what they called the London Calls segment, where they were getting on a fake phone using fake British accents to call a player, and it was just a skit. There wasn't anybody on the phone or anything, Right. But they were all doing their best fake British accents. And for some reason, hearing Kurt Warner do a fake British accent talking to his call was to Trevor Lawrence or for something. It was just the funniest thing I'd seen, right? So I had to go on. I took to Twitter or X, and I posted something about it. And I'm sitting here at my desk, preparing for all the games I got to cover, kicking off at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I hear my name. And I'm like, what? And they have my tweet on the screen, and they're discussing my tweet. So I had to rewind it. I'm like, did he did Rich Eisen just say my name on TV? And so here's a little clip that I rewound it and I recorded it here. Let's see if I can get this one.
Great tweet right here from Tim Ham. Multiple left there. Watching Kurt fake a British accent on a fake phone call to Trevor Lawrence is the best and most uncomfortable thing I've seen today. Truth. He must not have seen your opinion of the Vikings Blitz package. That was the best thing in hour 2. Making everybody uncomfortable. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and so Kurt Warner had replied. I didn't see it at the time, but Kurt Warner had replied. He's like, truth. Like, you're right. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Well done. They rewarded your loyal viewership there. Fantastic.
I got like 1,000 followers after that too. All day Sunday. They kept trickling in.
Good. Our numbers are up. Did you retweet the show yet?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, thank you. So there's breaking news this morning from Pat Burnham that Brock Glenn will start against Clemson on Saturday night. The Noles are 15-point underdogs, biggest underdog they've been in a home game in a long, long time. I can't believe it's 15. I've already laid a large number. So this is good. If I lay a large number on Clemson, then FSU has a fighting chance. We know this. Something historic is about to happen. If I bet on Clemson, something. So I'm going to take the fall for all you FSU folks. Isn't that nice of me? I'll lose a chunk of money, and so you guys can see the biggest upset of all time. If they stay within 15 points of Clemson, I swear to God, that will be the biggest upset of all time. You have to understand, the teams that FSU have played are not good. Like, they're not good. Clemson's good. Clemson's really good. And Klubnik, or whatever the hell his name is, he figured it out. He has figured. They were up 28-0 on NC State. NC State ain't great, but 28-0, like in a blink of an eye in the first quarter. This kid who was a 5-star everything, who didn't, the first couple of years took him some time, but he's figured it out. And Clemson looks really, really good. And listen, I watched that Clemson-Georgia game. The score at the end was ugly. I get it. Georgia clearly knows how to score in the second half. But
except for against, I mean,
they were tied with Clemson at halftime. Clemson was hanging up, like, physically. They went toe to toe with Georgia and stopped their running game. They ran the ball. They looked pretty good. They just couldn't score. Neither could Georgia. Now Georgia ran away in the second half, but this Clemson team's for real, and they are pissed off at FSU for many things. And Dabo has to know that this is a moment where he can step on FSU's neck. Like, in terms of, a program debilitating loss. And this is what I fear, for FSU, is like they're facing a somewhat existential crisis right now, and which is unfathomable, if I can mumble that out, having won 13 games and won 19 in a row as of last year before the exhibition in the Orange Bowl. That's insane. Yeah. Now, the only way you can do that is you have some great, great players on the previous team, which they did. Unbelievable. But you can't fall that fast, that far. It's never been done in college football. Literally, historically, has never been done in college football. A top 10 team losing to 3 unranked teams to start a season. It's never been done. And you just look at the body of work. If you watch the tape like I do, it's unbelievably bad. They do nothing well. They're ranked 4th to the bottom in offense in all of college football, D1 college football or FBS college football. 4th to last with the talent that they have. Are you kidding me? How is that possible? Well, you can have a quarterback that is so god awful that he can tear the whole team down. He touches the ball on every play, and that's what you have. And you did not, even though everybody in football could clearly see that this guy was physically limited. Now we hear always been bothered by a knee injury. Well, no shit. The dude can't run. He's never been this slow. So now you're telling me you put a guy out there who's injured and can't run? It's clear this day that he can't run. Like, I've never seen a slower athlete in college football ever, including linemen. And you're running him twice on the goal line in a crucial situation. It's like you're trying to get fired. I don't think there's any bigger Mike Norvell supporter out there, or was, than myself. And at this point, we're all just scratching our heads like, what the hell happened to this guy? Like, what? Like, something, like, was that snub so traumatic that he's got like CTE or something? Or there's some I'm like, what's going on? Is he so entrenched in his DJU belief that he really thinks this guy could have turned it around when there was never a chance. Now they're citing that his finger injury is not going to let him start this week, which is interesting because it was always out there, that he had something in his deal that if he was healthy, he had to start the first 5 games. That's a rumor that's out there. And now suddenly here comes game 6 and he's not playing.
He's not playing, yeah.
And Brock is starting. So, and if that ever comes to public light, if that ever is revealed as true, then Mike Norvell loses all credibility, and the program as a whole loses
the program.
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So this was, I'm going to play this audio because I didn't get time to download it. This was Mike yesterday. When asked about the depth chart that came out, his depth chart that I'm guessing he approves before it goes out. And they changed some names on there and put some younger players as or starters, which is good. Some on the offensive line, some on defense. And at quarterback, it's now DJU or Brock Glenn. And now we learned today that Brock's going to get the start. But this was his curious answer to the question yesterday.
I mean, obviously, DJ, it's like one of those, like, I really don't care about a depth chart, to be honest with you. It really means nothing. And so to put a status like DJ didn't finish the game because he couldn't finish the game. Now, I've said that I was going to put Brock in at that moment too, but obviously right now there is a little bit of uncertainty of status. We'll see what that looks like as the week goes on, but it doesn't really matter what I put on a depth chart.
I want to share with you.
Okay.
Interesting.
Why do you put it out there then?
What's the point?
And, depth charts are things that players look at and they see themselves, elevated or demoted. And that's supposed to be some type of motivational tactic, I would think, that coaches use from time to time. Mm-hmm. That's a weird answer, and now, a media that's been very loyal, starting to get a little prickly. And we, when these things start happening, it's not good. It's not good for the program. They are offensively, as I said, 4th to last in rushing the football at 2.36 yards per game. And this was with an offensive line that's had 215 starts combined and is huge. Like, you can't find a way to coach against inferior teams. Like, you're going up against defensive lines and linebackers that weigh, less than 200 pounds in linebackers. And you go look at the Memphis front 4 or, these are not elite defensive run stopping units. Let's just say, Memphis gave up 212 yards to a Navy running quarterback on 12 carries and 4 touchdowns. Navy. Navy.
And it wasn't Roger Staubach either.
It was not Roger Staubach. And it was not. Come on. It's ridiculous. So now you're going to play the big boys, and I mean the big boys. And this could be an embarrassing loss. And the same thing can happen in Miami. And now you've waited this long to give Brock some meaningful reps in practice in terms of getting all the reps. Pat and I said this 2 weeks ago. You need to start getting them reps. And then last week we said he needs to get all the reps and start the SMU game before the Clemson game. Give him all the reps and prepare him as well as you possibly can. Hell, you might even beat SMU. You never know. Mm-hmm. If you get a quarterback that is not physically handicapped, like clearly DJ has been. We learned about the knee. He's been it's clear to the naked eye. He can't move. He can't run. And so now you have a quarterback that can run and can do some things. So will it matter? Well, he's not ready. He's not ready to go against a defense like this. He would have been more ready had he played a whole game and had a whole week of practice against SMU. And now you're going to give him this week when he's got no chance against this Clemson front line and this horrible FSU offensive line. He's got no shot. And it's going to get ugly. It's going to get really, really ugly. So
what class is Brock?
Born ready.
What class is he, a sophomore, junior? What class is he in?
I believe Brock is he started the Orange Bowl and I think he played 3 games last year. So I don't know if he held on to his red shirt. So he's either a sophomore or red shirt freshman.
Okay. So he's
got. It was funny. I would, the War Chant guys put out on Twitter some practice clips today, and they put out a tackling drill. And I was like, oh my God. Now I know they don't tackle to the ground, which I think is crazy at this point. If you're Florida State, your guys can't tackle to the ground. It's not against the rules to do in practice, at least one day. But I guess they won't do that. So they're not tackling to the ground, but they're doing kind of an open field tackling drill. And both of the guys on the video I saw came up and tried to catch the guy, like didn't put their shoulder or their nose into the chest of the guy. It's a tackling drill. It's just a side swipe and miss the tackle. Like, I'm like, this is a tackling drill?
You play like you practice, and you practice
coach, and then there's a coach in the background as the guy, he almost went to the ground. So we have we have spotters to make sure the players don't fall on the ground. I swear to God, go look at my Twitter. There's a spotter to make sure nobody falls on the ground. Now, I don't want to be mean to my university, but this is so embarrassing.
What are we doing?
This is so embarrassing. And there was another clip of the three quarterbacks throwing the ball. And man, does the ball come out of Luke's hand like a freaking laser. He's the 5-star freshman, 6'4" drop back kid who's, everybody says is not ready to play. There's freshmen all over this freaking world that are playing great football in college football. And Brock gets it out. He's got a good short, quick delivery, just like a nice delivery. And I believe it's Trevor Wilson, the number 3 guy. He's got a cannon and just a flick of, he looks, he throws it just like a flick of the wrist. And really, I mean, in all of them, you can see they're moving around when they're throwing. Like, oh, they're not physically diminished like the other guy. All 3 of them could play better than DJU. And so what's holding him back? Coaching? All 3 of them are more physically gifted than DJU in throwing the ball and moving around. So it's what? It's coaching. They're not ready. You don't have them ready yet. Why is Brock Glenn not ready to play? He's been here for a year and a half. He started the Orange Bowl. Why is he not ready to play? That's a coaching thing. Fix it. Get him ready to play. If you're telling me he's not ready, that's on you, Mike Norvell. That's on you. How is he not ready to play? There's freshmen all over that are ready to play. How come your guy, who's been there a year and a half and took the bullets against Georgia for you, by the way, when everybody else quit, you demote him and you don't even give him a shot to play? Boy, that sends a great message to your team. And now you're going to throw him to the Wolves against Clemson. What the hell are you doing, man? What the hell are you doing, Mike Norvell?
I mean, if you want to destroy a guy's confidence real quick, that's one way to do it, right?
I mean, you get paid $11 million a year. You're supposed to be an elite coach. And you can't get Brock Glenn ready to play football against Memphis, against a terrible, not terrible, but a SMU team that's not great. Used to be a group of 5 team. You can't get him ready to play. That's on you, bro. I don't want to hear he's not ready. Luke, okay, maybe, but not Brock. He should be ready to play. So it's embarrassing. It's with all the resources that they have and the money that these guys get paid, and all these assistant coaches got raises. What are you doing? What are any of you guys doing? Your players don't listen to a damn thing you say. They don't know how to tackle. They commit penalties right and left. There's absolutely zero accountability. You just throw them right back out there when they make stupid decisions. Don't tackle, get stupid penalties, drop footballs, don't block anybody. Sure, go right back out. Get them next time, kid. Are you serious? Nick Saban? You'd have to leave the program for half the things you guys do. Seriously. You wouldn't make it to the freaking training table on Monday. You're probably giving out tomahawks. Golly, it's bad. It is bad. All right, let's hit a couple of the comments, shall we?
Yeah.
My friend. My music, maestro?
Yes, it's coming.
Yes, thank you. John Hill, he's on your side. Says Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. He is. James says yesterday Colin Cowherd making excuses for Jalen Hurts, now blaming head coaches. Also, Eagles lost to a team that was pushed around for 2 weeks. Wait a second. The Bucs demoralized the Lions. Yes, they did. And he goes on to say Cowherd making excuses when the Bucs are blaming Eagles head coach. Pushed around? They got pushed around against the Broncos. They did. But I thought they pushed the Lions around. And by the way, it looked really good last night. Nathan Elliott says Devin White has now gotten a letter for drug testing from the No, he's not high. He's not black and green Eagle fans were getting escorted out of the stadium the whole game. Nathan Elliott was at the game. Yes. Yeah, I would imagine there was a lot of that going on because 28-0, 24-0. Nathan says the souvenir soda cups get free refills for the entire game. I drink beer, wine, liquor at the tailgate. I drink water inside the stadium. I drank 8 souvenir soda cups of water on Sunday. Smart.
Jeez. Yeah.
Smart. Pre-game, hard. Get your buzz on, and then drink water. Smart. That guy's a veteran right there. John Hill says the FEMA Fed funds went dry back in July. Oh, perfect timing then. Maybe the latest funding bill added some extra funds, but the wheels moved too slow. That's for damn sure. Christopher Cole adds, this government doesn't care about its own people. That's pretty evident.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, exactly. Rick says, don't worry, JP Biden has $6 billion for FEMA. Oh, wait, that was to Ukraine.
Oops.
Right. James says, so now they're saying DJ with an injured knee, either you're right, Norvell wants to be fired, or he has zero confidence in Brock. I don't know what's going on there, Bo. DJU has Devin White-itis. Good. James says Brock is a redshirt freshman. That's what I thought. Yeah, and he's definitely going to consider transferring. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Why can Oklahoma start a true freshman at Auburn, but FSU quarterbacks never see the field? Didn't SMU switch their quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
The kid throws for 7,000 yards against FSU.
Yep.
Thank you for your comments, guys. Great stuff as always. Appreciate you. Some other notes. The Braves clinched yesterday. We talked a little bit about baseball. Braves are in. We got playoff baseball today, and the Mets are in as the 5 seed, right? In the National League. We've got what do we got today on this schedule? Call up the schedule, Tim, while I riff a little bit on the Rays. So the Rays finished 80-82.
Mm-hmm.
They were the worst offensive team in baseball, save the worst team in the history of baseball, the Chicago White Sox, who, by the way, they lost 4 games to, 4 out of the 6 that they lost. On every level, franchise lows for runs scored, 3.73 runs per game, a run and a half less than just last year's franchise record. Bizarre. But here's the thing that really gets me. It's so many of the Rays fans that love on Stu Sternberg. They go, oh, we had a record $96.6 million payroll at the beginning of the year. Woo! Did you notice 2 days after they got the vote from St. Pete that they traded Yandy Diaz? Or maybe it was a few days after. They waited to trade Yandy Diaz, and then they traded everybody else that was making any money. So that $96 million payroll halfway through the season went to $45 million payroll. So in essence, how much did they spend on payroll this year? About $65 million. $70 million was the end, what they normally spend.
It's hard to build a successful baseball team when you're not spending money on
players. By the way, you had the second best ERA in baseball post All-Star break. Point being, if you held on to your hitters, you'd be in the playoffs. If they don't make those trades and they hold on to your hitters, you make the playoffs. But you didn't care about that. You cared about your payroll. That's all you cared about, is making money. Again.
Funny how that works.
Lauded this $96 million payroll. Oh, well, what do you know? By the end of the year, they didn't spend 96, did they? They spent about 65. Shocking development. And it just so happens that all those trades came after the vote. Timmy, that's just coincidence. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
This was
clearly
never planned. No.
I mean, with the history of this, the history of the economic sustainability of this ball club, that's clearly it's a
economic sustainability of their owner would be
right.
better put. So just once again, to all you sycophant Rays fans that always talk about the money like it's yours, you got hoodwinked again. You were never in on Aaron Judge or Freddie Freeman. You're never in on any of these people. You're never in on Ohtani. No, that's just false stories being fed to reporters that they're getting the inside scoop. Call me when you actually sign a hitter, when he signs with the Rays. Not in on, signs. And now you have a generational pitching staff. John Smoltz was on here last week talking about how good their pitching staff's going to be next year. Shane McClanahan coming back. They've got Uceda, Montgomery, these new relievers that they've added. They're stacked in starting pitching. And you have a $45 million payroll. If you don't go out and get Pete Alonso and 2 more hitters, you prove once again that you don't care about winning. Any other owner in this would be salivating at this cheap pitching staff they have that's going to be elite. They'd be salivating because they wouldn't even have to spend to the minimum to get a good lineup to support these guys and have a real shot at winning a World Series. A real shot. So prove me wrong, Stu Sternberg. Go get Pete Alonso. Go get some real bats. Bring Petey home to Tampa Bay. Get some real bats to marry with this incredible pitching staff, and maybe we could have some fun. And I don't want to hear, well, we think Junior Kemp in there. I don't want to hear it. If he's good, then that's a bonus. Well, Josh Lowe's going to I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. Go get some bats. And if Josh plays well, it's a bonus. I want to hear it. Go buy me 3 hitters in the lineup. It would be lovely if one of them could actually catch, as in catcher, not catch the ball. I mean, this is not hard. This is not hard, folks. Let's get it done. For once.
JP, there's four Major League playoff baseball games on slate today. Early game, you've got the Tigers at the Astros in the AL. You have the Royals at the Orioles early afternoon. You have the Mets at the Brewers.
So Royals are in the playoffs.
Royals are in the wild card round. The Mets at the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
And then later tonight, the Braves at the Padres. That's going to be an interesting
How
series.
did the Brewers get in? They're a small market team. How did they get in? How are they doing it? Minnesota, you're a small. How are they doing it? San Diego, you're the 20th largest market. How are they doing it? How do they have the money and we don't? We do have the money. They choose to spend it. That's the only.
You know what the Brewers' payroll is as a small market team, JP, this year?
I think it's in the 180s, isn't it?
$140.7 million. They are 22nd in the league in payroll, and they're in the playoffs.
And that's, by the way, that is 140. You'll say, "Whoa, that's lower than the league average, right?" And it's it's 80 million more than the Rays ended up spending this year. 80 million. And it's the 22nd in the league.
Willie Adams is the
Rays have well over $300 million in revenues every year. Well over $300 million. And that is a conservative estimate by Forbes. Conservative estimate. I think it's closer to 350 to 360. And you end up spending 65 to 70 million in payroll. He's been killing it forever, folks. Printing money, which is why he hasn't sold.
So I brought up
how much money he would have sold.
I brought up the Orioles because they're in the playoffs this year, obviously, JP. I want to can I show a picture of a blast from the past that I wanted to show?
Yes.
There's a specific reason I want to show this photo. This picture of old Baltimore Memorial Stadium, right?
That's the one that the plane ran into.
Yes, it had a plane crash. This, of course, is the old home of the Colts and the home of the first 2 years of the Ravens as well before they tore it down.
Mm-hmm.
But this is from the 1966 World Series.
Wow.
Early October, and The Orioles swept the Dodgers that year, so I don't know which game it is. There were only
What year was this?
66.
Oh.
But I want you to pay special attention to the parking lot and the way the cars are parked. There are no parking places. They are nut to butt.
Holy crap. How are you getting out of there?
Yeah, like, so if you're the guy in the white car in the very middle down here, like, you're just waiting, right?
Oh, my God. I didn't figure that out.
I saw this picture and I was like, what the hell are we doing here?
Oh, my God, you're right. That could be a problem. Oh, my God. Look at that. Old-time baseball. Oh.
God, I love old-time
baseball. Who remembers watching – who remembers your teacher in elementary school pushing in the TV from the AV department to watch day baseball World Series at school, elementary school?
Yep.
God bless Mrs. Hoyle. My third grade teacher is a big baseball fan. It's like, we're supposed to be watching a movie today. So I rented the television, but we might be watching something else. And she puts on a baseball game. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Awesome.
Are you kidding me?
Congrats to her.
Rest in peace, Mrs. Hoyle. And you too, Pete Rose. All right, let's welcome in our good friend, Matty Matera from the Pewter Report. Talk a little Bucs, Eagles, Bucs, Falcons. What's up, Matty? How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
You're too young to remember those days. You've been watching games on your phone probably in your school. And
I remember TVs getting wheeled in for sure. I wish it was for baseball or other sports.
No, it was for watching some movie on the Bermuda Triangle or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, some science project, something like that.
There's quite a science project on the field on Sunday. Don't schedule games at 1:00 for the fans and the players. That was were you down there at all at the end of the game or anything?
No, I was doing our game day stream on our YouTube channel. But yeah, from what everybody told me, it was brutal. The hottest game of the year and absolutely miserable. I mean, we all heard Baker say that he changed his pants at halftime, so I can only imagine how brutal it was.
Yeah, it was hot. So, just give me your overall take on what you saw in that game. Your highlight takeaways for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I love the way that Liam Cohen, the Bucs offensive coordinator, was able to make adjustments with this team. We knew the struggles that they had running the football, and they were so good at running in a gap blocking scheme and struggled with the zone. So they went much heavier with the gap blocking in that game. Protection for Baker Mayfield was fantastic. They got Mike Evans the football early and often. So everything we wanted to see, everything we wanted them to correct, they did, which was why, they scored over 30 points and got 33 in the game. And I think also this defense, we didn't get to see it much last year. When they get to play with the lead, it just allows Todd Bowles to dial up so many different things. The pass rush finally showed up. Yaya Diaby with his first sack. But man, oh man, did the Bucs miss Vita Vea, because that defense is just a completely different animal when he's there in the middle.
It is so different. And, it's different against the run. It's different against the pass. And I was talking about this yesterday, Matty. I think if you go back and look, because Kalijah didn't start until midway through the season, right? Last year, it was
like week 5 or 6. So he played the game against the Vikings, the season opener, but he only got like 10 snaps and got hurt. He came back for the creamsicle game against Detroit last year.
Yeah. So when you look at most of the games that Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey have played together, the Bucs have been tremendous, really, really good. And I think that tandem can change the way the season turns out if they can get healthy. Do you think Kalijah plays this week? What's your thoughts on the injuries as far as this week goes?
The Bucs are being really conservative with it and cautious with Kalijah Kancey, and I understand it's a big investment. He was their first-round pick a season ago. I mean, I was just at practice, and it's a walkthrough. Everyone's in jerseys. Everyone's standing around. It's very calm, cool, collected. But he didn't even line up with the other defensive tackles and outside linebackers. So that leads me to believe that he's not going to play on Thursday if he can't even walk in the walkthrough with everybody else. I know it's frustrating. I know Bucs fans are getting impatient because they want to see him. And don't get me wrong, I want to see him out there as well, especially because we've only gotten a tidbit of, as you were just talking about, Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey. I mean, even giving Vita Vea a little bit of a break and letting Kalijah Kancey do his thing could do wonders for both of them. And that pass rush, which, again, had struggled up until Sunday, can just be absolutely nasty with Vita and Kalijah Cansey getting in there. The Bucs got a big stretch coming up.
Yeah.
The Thursday game, the Saints the following week, and then you got, I don't remember
Ravens.
the specific order, but yeah, Ravens, Falcons again, Chiefs, Niners.
Chiefs,
so
yeah.
You want to hopefully get Kalijah Cansey back for that kind of run, and hopefully we can see him against the Saints, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this Thursday.
Antoine Winfield, probably not.
Probably not. Once again, he was another guy. He was out there hanging out, throwing around the football, but he doesn't look game ready just yet. He was walking out to practice last week and didn't see a limp, not wearing a boot or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not looking good for him. And Luke Gedeke, another guy who just was out there but was standing around, wasn't lining up with the offensive lineman. That could be a little bit different because he just has to pass the concussion protocol test.
Right.
So it's tough to say just yet whether or not he'll be available. But the Bucs keep winning without a lot of these guys. 3-1. I know the loss is bad to Denver, but overall, I think you're happy with a 3-1 start to the season. So I think it's just a lot of credit to the depth and a lot of the backup guys for pulling their weight with the top guys out.
Matt Matera joining us here from the Pewter Report. So quick turnaround. And I asked the guys after the game the other day, a couple asked Bowles this question. I think I asked Baker as well. How do you avoid that physical, emotional letdown that you had a couple of weeks ago? You came off a very tough physical game against the Lions, an emotional win, big deal, right? You came out and you absolutely flopped the next week. And I think a lot of it had to do with that, the hangover there. So now you had another very physical, in the heat, emotional win over the Eagles. Now you got a short week and you got to go on the road. I mean, they are going to be tested again in terms of their mental and emotional bounce back ability. So that has me concerned. Have they fixed this? I don't know. We'll find out. What do you think?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I would counter that with, I don't think they need much motivation for this one because this is a chip on your shoulder type of game. This is the DNA of the Buccaneers. They love getting overlooked. They love proving people wrong. And what's been the discussion all of the offseason? Oh, my God, the Falcons, they made all
the Falcons. Yeah.
They're the top dog. So I think that motivation is already built in to go and smack around a team that they could show on a national audience, hey, we're still the kings of the NFC South as we won the division the last several years in a row. So I don't think you need to worry about that kind of lull based on beating the Eagles. And if anything, the Eagles, that was a game the Bucs should have won based on the injuries to Philadelphia more than the injuries to Tampa Bay. So going to this one against Atlanta, it's a chip on your shoulder type of thing. I think Baker's going to be motivated. I actually feel pretty good about the Bucs in this game because Kirk Cousins, I know he's played better on prime time, but that dude is a statue back there. He cannot move. And think about all the times this season the Bucs have come so close to getting sacks on the quarterback. Well, Kirk Cousins, he ain't Jaden Daniels, he ain't Jalen Hurts. Bo Nix had some mobility. So I love the pass rush for the Bucs this Thursday.
That's very interesting. And I agree with you. That's the way it should be. And if the fact that they're playing the Falcons is good, but it doesn't change the way your body feels. Yeah. And I know the Falcons have to play 4 days later, but they don't have to travel. They didn't play in the heat. They were indoors. So it's a little different for them. And I hope they answer the bell. I think it's going to be tough physically to answer the bell, but get a lead in this game. I think just like they did last week, Lord Almighty, we scored on the first possession, Matt Matera. What the hell is going on here?
Bless your heart. Bless your heart scoring a touchdown on the first drive. And you know what? That's been a key for the Bucs this season because you look at all three of their wins, they've gotten the ball first. And yes, their wins against Washington in week 1, Detroit in week 2, they didn't score touchdowns, but they did field goals on that drive and put points up on the board and let that defense play with the lead. Now you look at the abysmal performance against Denver. The Broncos got the ball first. They scored a touchdown. And sure, the Bucs should still be able to dig themselves out of a 7-0 hole. Right. But when things started going downhill, they never had that fast start that they wanted, but they were able to get back on track on Sunday against the Eagles. So even Chris Godwin spoke about it yesterday. The two big things they're relying on is getting to a fast start with that mentality of like, we're already going to put our defense on the field with the lead, and the physicality nature, which I agree with your point. At least it's a game in Atlanta. It's not like you're traveling to the West Coast or whatever. But, you still have to travel. A lot of wear and tear playing in Tampa. But the Bucs are trying to prove that they are a physical football team. And I think if it's a normal week, they can out physical the Atlanta Falcons, but that could be a factor where, yes, the Bucs want to do it, but the Thursday night game may hurt them a little bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a tough ask physically, but it's what they get paid for, and you got to take care of your bodies, and hopefully they did that. By the way, Nathan Elliott says hello to you. Hello, Matt.
What's up, Nathan?
And Clarence Cole brings up the Falcons didn't score an offensive touchdown last week, Mr. Kirk Cousins. Like, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah, the Falcons' offense has been a little fugazi to begin the season.
I got Kyle Pitts on my fantasy team. I don't even think he got a target last week.
Who did you have?
Kyle Pitts.
Oh, wow. See, I have Bijan Robinson, and he's not doing much as a runner.
Yeah.
So that's the thing for Atlanta as well, is how do you help out Kirk Cousins, who's immobile? You got a good running game going, but Atlanta hasn't been able to run the football. And they have two good running backs with obviously Bijan Robinson, but Tyler Algier as well. They have weapons at receivers with Drake London and Pitts, but something just seems a little bit off. And I go back to, I've been saying this from the beginning of the season. It's an advantage for the Bucs that they're playing Atlanta twice in the month of October when Atlanta is still figuring things out. And look at it. They're trying to figure things out on offense. Atlanta's going to be a much better team in November and December. But you know what? The Bucs don't care about that, because if they can win these few games in October, they'll have the tiebreaker and have a leg up against not just them, but the Saints as well, if they can win these next two games. So this is a great opportunity for the Bucs to take advantage of a struggling Falcons team. And Tampa Bay's been great with taking care of the football for the most part this year. So you're not going to get those fluky type of plays that the Falcons were able to get on Sunday.
And, Baker Mayfield was fantastic the other day. I was really kind of disappointed in Tom Brady, the way they handled the whole Baker versus Brady thing. I thought it would have been nice for Tom to acknowledge in the broadcast that he talked to Baker before the game, and those comments were taken out of context. He didn't do that. I thought it was a cheap shot by Fox. I thought it was a cheap shot by Brady. I don't think it was handled well at all. I think Baker handled it great in the post game. I don't think Fox and Baker did. What do you think?
Well, I thought Baker said the taken out of context stuff. He said that after the game. So, I don't know. That's not on Tom Brady to.
You don't think they discussed it before the game when they were chatting?
Well, we don't. Probably. Maybe.
Come on. Of course they did.
Right, but all right. If you're Tom, you hear Baker take a shot at you. Also, Tom's.
It wasn't a shot at Tom. It wasn't a shot at Tom.
Ridiculed so far about his broadcasting, so he wanted to come up with something a little spicy. We don't know what their conversation was beforehand, but if someone takes a shot at him, I think he has every right to respond and kind of.
I agree, but come on, they talked about it before the game. Well, you think they had a conversation and they didn't? Oh, by the way, yeah, those. That they talked about it. Come on.
Before the game, I do agree with you that Tom probably should have said that they talked before the game.
Yes,
but it was kind of funny. It's like they talked before the game. Brady says what he said about Baker, and then immediately after the game, Baker won the
the LFG
award. So then Tom
he had to come kiss his ass.
That part was kind of awkward. It's also funny because Tom, he played here. He played with Mike and Chris, so it's just funny being like, man, your connection with Mike and Chris, what's it like throwing to them? It's like, Tom, better than anyone else what it's like. But I got it. He's got to do the media side of things.
By the way, I think Tom was what he said was right. It ain't daycare. It ain't about. It's supposed to be fun. And I think Baker was right. Baker was like, yeah, they asked me to come in and be myself and be, loosen things up a little bit. That's not. I mean, I think they both were right. I just didn't like the way that Brady handled it. My personal opinion. All right, Maddie, tell me what you guys got planned for this week, the short week. How's Peter Report covering this big game on Thursday?
Yeah, so we'll have our preview show tomorrow on our YouTube channel at 4:00 p.m. Then we'll have another preview in the morning at 9 a.m. So you can on game day on Thursday, so you can watch it at any point up until kickoff. And then our Pewter Game Day stream, it's live on our YouTube channel as the game's going on. I'll be on live reacting to everything going on. We'll talk to fans in the comments as well. And it's all on our YouTube channel at Pewter Report TV.
Awesome stuff, Maddie. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, bud. At Maddie4_Matera. Follow him on the X machine. So, yeah. What'd you think of that whole Baker Brady thing?
I thought it was kind of funny. I think they were having fun with it. I don't think there was any – like you said, it wasn't a shot. He wasn't taking a shot at Brady. I thought they were just having fun with it. And of course they talked about it before the game. They probably laughed about it before the game. And Tom Brady's looking for anything and everything that he can have right now to endear himself to the broadcast community, right, and to fans. And probably said what he said, probably said it the wrong way, and I don't know. I didn't have a problem with any of it. Obviously there's no animosity there that, they're joking about it afterwards. So it's just one of those weird things that got public that probably.
Well, I think Fox made a big deal of it. And they had the graphic ready and had an on-camera scheduled for Tom to react. And then Tom reacted. And then evidently Burkhardt wanted to hear more. Yeah. So when they got on camera, he was like, come on, tell us how you really feel. And I think, I don't know. I think Brady could have handled it in a better way. I know he's part of the story. Broadcasters typically won't be part of the story or should not be part of the story, which is one of the issues you have with him. So I don't know. I just it didn't sit well with me. So there you go. All right. Do we need to hit a break? TJ's ready.
Whatever you want to do, Captain.
All right. Let's hit a quick break. Pay the bills. TJ will be joining us here shortly. I'm going to get his thoughts on Pete Rose and his days in Tampa because TJ's got stories.
Of course.
TJ's got stories.
All right, back in break.
Stay with us. Discover a world of elegance and sophistication at the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're searching for your first piece or celebrating a special milestone, their expert team is here to guide you every step of the way. Navigating the world of fine jewelry can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Their knowledgeable staff is dedicated to helping you choose the perfect piece, ensuring you feel confident and informed. At the Golden Diamond Source, they pride themselves on offering only the highest quality jewelry. From stunning engagement rings to timeless watches, each piece is crafted with precision and care. So take advantage of their 5 years interest-free financing. This means you can get a $5,000 piece and only pay $83 a month. And if you're new to buying diamonds, their first-time buyer program will educate you on the 4 C's, cut, color, clarity, and carat, and help you understand the different shapes and sizes available. Go enjoy the great staff at the Golden Diamond Source. You'll be family forever. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey, Tampa Bay sports fans. This is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez in Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-961-8024. 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, and let's welcome in our good friend, our confidant, colleague of many, many years, the great DJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Always good to be with you, my friend, on so many different fronts. We will talk Buccaneers, Falcons. I know you want to talk Pete Rose, and you're right. I'm off in the wings on the launching pad, and you're talking about stories. I got stories. We'll go over all of it. Let me say at the outset of the conversation, you and I were saying this on the postgame show with Peter on this platform and Peter's platform at Raymond James Stadium. There are so many people who are devastated. I mean, just the outpouring everywhere of people saying we've lost everything. We've lost our home, our condo, our rental. We don't know where we're going to stay. Our kids have to go back to school this week, and we're staying with friends or we're staying with acquaintances, family, somewhere else.
Our cars are gone.
Our cars are gone. Our possessions are gone. Our furniture is gone. This is not going to be solved. I'm not just painting doom and gloom only. We'll cheer it up with other things. This is not going to be solved in a week. This is not going to be solved in several months for a lot of these people. So it is heartbreaking stuff to look at. I know you said this, to just scroll on social media and look at how many people we know that are on and on. And there are media members. I saw Mike Deason, who you know, your colleague,
10,
one of the great investigative reporters that this market's had over the last 50 years. And Mike has been retired now for about 10 years from Channel 10, the CBS station in this market. JP, he put it on social media. They lost everything.
Yeah.
He is retired, and they lost everything in this. Our radio
Doug
analyst
Wechter's house was down.
Doug Wechter, same thing.
Paul Wilson,
awful. Dave Moore, our radio analyst on Buccaneers Radio, who is so intertwined in the fabric of this community, spent all of Saturday afternoon and Saturday night ripping everything out of his beach house and all the possessions. It's all a total loss, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sarah Walsh of the NFL Network, who has twins that are a little younger, boy and a girl, than my twins. Husband obviously is a coach with the Toronto Blue Jays. They lost everything at Clearwater Beach. Same thing. So, and those are the famous ones. There are thousands and thousands and thousands who aren't famous who are dealing with this same thing. So it's awful. It's awful. We are there. Shout out to those that are volunteering, whether it's volunteer organizations that are set up through the counties, the state, churches, schools. There are all kinds of outlets and entities that have done amazing things over the last 2 or 3 days. And just one more, because we're headed up to Atlanta. It is worse. It is worse by far in the northwest part of Georgia, Western Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, where there are literally dozens of people presumed dead that they've not found yet, that are missing. There are flood-destroyed towns everywhere. If you're in the city of Asheville, North Carolina, you have no way to get in or out from the east or the west. They're trapped, JP, because of the floodwaters. It's horrific.
There was one report. They went into a western North Carolina town and found 60 bodies in the trees.
It's like, horrible. It's horrible what happened.
When you see what happened in Chimney Rock, which is a little place I used to visit all the time in North Carolina, it's a beautiful little city and this great state park, just gorgeous. The water came through from, I guess they had to open a dam there at Lake Lure.
It overflowed and overwhelmed it. The dam on that river.
It just destroyed the town. It came through a wall of water 10 feet high, just came through. It destroyed it. And it's like, oh my God, there were people in those homes.
The loss of life and what's going on and what's still going to go on this week, this month, now a new month of October, what's for the next few months to try to rebuild and help these people. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. So sports is a diversion. I love doing what we're doing. It stays a little bit on a downer note with the death of Pete Rose. Okay, so you want some TJ stories? I'm ready to start rifling.
Tampa, I wasn't here when he was,
all right. So
running this town in the spring.
Prior to moving here, TJ, true story. Swear, hand up in the air. My family is living in Eastern Tennessee in Chattanooga at that time. We go on a family vacation to Philadelphia. This is the 1981 baseball season. So Pete Rose has left the Reds. He has won the championship the year before as the first baseman with the Phillies in 1980. This is the strike summer of 1981, the first of a couple of baseball strikes, obviously. So we are on family vacay going up the East Coast of the United States, Washington, D.C., seeing all the colonial towns like Williamsburg, Jamestown, all that. We go to Philadelphia to see everything in Philadelphia. The baseball season is now back on. The night that the baseball season is back on after about 8 or 9 weeks, we're there in Philadelphia. My father says, let's go to the game. We're in the family mobile home. My sister and my mother stay in the mobile home in the parking lot of Veterans Stadium to watch the TV with the generator and have the air conditioner going. Yeah. We go in Veterans Stadium. I am an 11-year-old TJ. That night, Pete Rose is tied with Stan Musial of the Cardinals for the National League hit record.
Oh, right.
He had gotten the tying hit in June, and the strike happened like the next day, and baseball's been gone for like 8 weeks because of the strike. This is the first night back all over Major League Baseball, and we're there at the Vet. And it is electric every time he comes to the plate to pass Stan Musial, because Musial was about 300 or 400 hits from Ty Cobb, and it wasn't a guarantee that Pete Rose was going to get to Ty Cobb. So this was to break the National League record. I still vividly remember in the upper deck of Veterans Stadium, Rose came up late in the game. He was like 0 for 3, didn't have a hit. And he singled into the outfield, and the place erupted. It felt like the stadium was shaking around me, and you're a little kid, and all these things are more gargantuan and bigger when you're a little kid. I obviously now almost, 45 years later, will always remember that, being there that night for a Pete Rose on the field moment. Now you bring it forward to Tampa. We moved to Tampa as a family. My father's a pastor. We're in the church ministry. We moved to Tampa in 1983. The Reds were training in Tampa year after year. And remember, Pete Rose played a little bit for Philadelphia for 2 or 3 years, and then he played part of the 84 season in Montreal. Pete Rose was a Montreal Expo.
Yeah.
And then Marge Schott worked out not only a trade to get him back as a player, but she said, I'm going to hire you as the manager player, a playing manager for the Reds. So Rose in like the 85 season, which is when he broke the record, and like I want to say the 86 season too, was still playing as the manager of the Reds.
Yeah.
And they would train at Al Lopez Field right beside Old Tampa Stadium, now long since knocked down. In every February and March, the Reds would be there. This is a true story, and my father has smiled about this all the time. He goes to Red spring training one weekday, and he has a baseball, and he has a pen, and he gets Pete Rose's signature, and Tony Perez is on the coaching staff. He gets Tony Perez's signature, and Johnny Bench is there that day from the Big Red Machine. He gets his signature. Oh, wait. He's done it with a felt tip pen, unfortunately, which over the course of time, we know what happens to felt tip ink, don't we? Yeah. And so I had past tense, a great memory with a great baseball, but it just becomes a story at this point of being around all of those guys with the Reds. But here's the further point on that. With all, baseball gone. Big Red Machine baseball long gone. I mean, it's got Dave Parker was on those Reds teams. It's got Dave Parker, the Cobra. Yeah. It's got Eric Davis. It's got all kinds of Reds, current players, former players, but the ball is long gone. It's okay. It's a memory. It's okay.
But he got him, and that's what
he got. Yes, and the Reds trained here. Okay, so then the gambling controversy ignites. You weren't in the market yet, but all of that ignited in 1989. And that spring and that summer, the Reds were training right here in Tampa when all of that went on, and Bart Giamatti was trying to suspend him for the year, and he went to court. Yeah. All of that started in Tampa before it started happening in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So eventually that summer, he agrees to the ban, and we don't have to relitigate all of it, but he believed at that time that I can come back in and apply for reinstatement next year. And they have put on this piece of paper that they can make no formal finding that I bet on baseball, and I'm going to reapply for reinstatement, and they're going to have to reinstate me. That's what he believed. What they obviously had no intention of ever reinstating him. They further got him banned from the Hall of Fame by changing the rule that if you are on the ban list, you're permanently ineligible for the Hall of Fame. I say to this day, because I argued this on sports radio in Tampa Bay for so many years in the early 1990s and mid-1990s, he would have never signed that agreement in 1989 had he known that they were going to retroactively sabotage his Hall of Fame chances and say, if you are banned, you cannot go into the Hall of Fame.
No, I didn't know that. They changed the rule afterwards.
They changed it after he signed the agreement and railroaded him because of all of what was going on. Okay, so fast forward again, just one more thing here. There was a strong movement privately to get him back in, at least for the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And that movement was going on about 2001, 2002. Mike Schmidt, his former teammate in the Hall of Fame with the Phillies. Joe Morgan, his former teammate, obviously with the Reds and more famous as a broadcaster in the 90s and the 2000s, were privately leading the peace talks, if you will, to get Pete into the Hall of Fame. It wasn't necessarily going to be that Pete can come back into baseball and manage or participate, because there was still such a hardline stance and so much anger after what he put everybody through. And remember, Bart Giamatti died like 2 weeks after this whole circus in 89, and the owners almost took the attitude of, we're not ever going to let this guy in because of what happened and what it did to Bart Giamatti, in theory. All right, so I know this for a fact. I know people involved. They had it worked out. I know people close to Mike Schmidt. They had it worked out.
And then he said something stupid, right?
Well, even better, even worse. He was going to get back in to the Hall of Fame ballot for the Veterans Committee and be allowed to be in the Hall of Fame. They had worked it out privately. Pete had met with Bud Selig. He had met with the ownership committee. He had expressed contrition. He had said, I am willing to do whatever it takes to get back on the Hall of Fame ballot. I understand that in this brokered agreement, you're apparently not going to let me back into baseball. Remember, they very famously had him on the field in the 1999 World Series, the Braves, the Mets, where they honored him as one of the greatest players in the century of baseball.
They were bringing him back.
They brought him back and they honored him for that. So the momentum continued after that, led him in the Hall of Fame. And Pete stupidly, a third time stupidly, wanted to push his book admitting the guilt everywhere and went on TV everywhere, like Oprah, like Larry King Live, pushing the book. And he was doing it at a time in which baseball was making the Hall of Fame announcements in January, and Bud Selig and the owners went through the roof on this guy can't even wait for us to announce the broker deal. He's got to make it all about him and his book and pushing his book. He doesn't get it. He's never going to get it. He's never getting back
something stupid with Jim Gray too.
Probably. Well, the Jim Gray thing was Gray basically trying to get him to admit on national television, you bet on baseball. And he said, why are you asking me that? He looked right at him. He said, on a night like this, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was
but this was about the book, pushing the book to make money. And he's so angered. I know this for a fact. He so angered the baseball establishment when he did that. He ruined the final chance while he's alive, Pete Rose, for the next 20 plus years to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And so now here we are. That was going on, I believe, 2002. We're 22 years later. He has died at 83. He never got what he could have had 22 years ago, potentially.
Yeah.
And I wonder, even posthumously, they've never put Joe Jackson in, Shoeless Joe Jackson in, for the gambling implications when he didn't participate. What do you think? I didn't hear what you said earlier. Do you think even after his death?
I've always been on the side that Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. All his memorabilia is in the Hall of Fame. The bat's there, the 4,000, all of it's there. He's part of the story of baseball. He just doesn't have a plaque.
Correct.
And I said, that, listen, for the reasons that we loved Pete Rose, all those great attributes that he played so hard, his work ethic, the Charlie hustle, all those things were those great things that we loved about him. It wasn't a big guy, wasn't a great athlete, but he
Charlie hustle, right?
All that
Head
stuff.
First slides.
That's why we loved him. But there's also other values that we cherish as well: honesty and integrity.
Sure.
Where he fell way short and following the rules. That rule is on the clubhouse door and still remains on the clubhouse door, and everybody knows it. You don't F with gambling. You can do just about anything else, and everybody knows this. Don't F with gambling. And he pissed in the face of that rule.
What about the point that you can distinguish the playing career where there is zero evidence that he was gambling on the game and trying to do anything to fix games as a player, and you separate the playing career from what he did as a manager, where the evidence is, and say Pete Rose, the player, deserves to be in more hits than anybody, more games played than anybody, more at bats than anybody, 17-time All-Star, 3-time world champion, 3 gold gloves, couple of batting titles, league MVP, on and on and on down the list. Can you not separate the two and honor him posthumously and say he's in? I think you can. I don't know that they ever will. I think you and I may be around for a while, Timmy, you too. And I think 10 years from now, he may not be in. I think 25 years from now,
fascinating
he
argument
may not be in.
Is because both sides have great points. Both sides have. You could argue each point, and I could go back and forth. I've always just said, that he's in the Hall of Fame and he just doesn't have a plaque. And I think.
Let me ask you one more. All right, it's obvious the baseball establishment, the owners, the Hall of Fame have decided the collective cheaters of Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, Roger Clemens, Rafael Palmeiro, anybody prominent associated with PEDs and steroids, they're not getting in. Do you believe they will hold the line forever on those guys? Because if they're going to let those guys in that cheated the game for their numbers, how do you deny Pete Rose's accomplishments as a player?
What
do you think of that, JP Peterson, on Tuesday?
I think it's inconsistent. I think I would keep them out. I would keep them all out because the reason they're in the Hall of Fame, and I would put Barry Bonds in this category as well, and he sullied the game and broke the from a numerical standpoint, broke the most hallowed record in sports in Hank Aaron's number, but he did it to me in
cheating. He cheated it.
You go look at every player that's ever played this game, and at the age of 37 and 38, the power starts declining. Even with Ted Williams, the numbers go down, but not for Barry Bonds.
Correct.
And they went up, and they went up significantly. 73 home runs.
Jimmy, do they keep them all out forever, including Pete Rose? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I think I said earlier. I think Pete Rose gets in.
Yeah.
I think Pete Rose gets in posthumously. It might take 10 years, but I think he gets in. The steroid guys.
And at this point, none of the people that were around in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s really even own the teams anymore. The baseball establishment is entirely different.
You've made your point about gambling.
And he went to his grave 35 years later, having not gotten into the Hall of Fame. You're absolutely right. You made your point.
I think part of it is there's no question in my point, in my opinion. He didn't kiss the right asses or ever say the right things that needed to be done to truly.
But my story with you today, he was on the verge of having that, and one last time screwed it all up. It's unbelievable.
For money.
Unbelievable. All right, I know you've only got a few moments left.
By the way, I have to correct my Pete Rose story.
Please.
It wasn't San Diego. Me and my brother drove up to San Francisco.
Okay.
And we saw a doubleheader during the streak, the batting streak. Hits 22 games, 22 and 23. the starting pitchers for the Giants that day in Candlestick Park. I was in Candlestick Park. It was
awesome.
It was freezing that summer day. It was July 7th, 1978, in Vita Blue. He got 3 hits.
Vita Blue.
He got 3 hits off Vita Blue, and you were there?
I was there.
What a story.
Wow.
What a story.
John
Love
Montefusco pitched the third game.
How about this? All right, Joe DiMaggio. What now? We're coming up on 75 years later. Has the hit streak record still, 56 straight games. Rose, that was 77 or 78. JP 77 on the 44 game hit streak. 78. No one has come close to 44 games in a row with Pete Rose. Somebody got to like 38 or maybe close to 40, but nobody's gotten to 41 or 42 since what Pete Rose did. And it was the Braves and Gene Garber that got him out for the final time. The old sidewinding Atlanta pitcher that got him out for the final time. And the Braves celebrated like they won the World Series because they never were any good. And they got Pete Rose out and stopped the hit streak. What memories? What memories on all of that? I know you only got a couple minutes left.
Stories would be great. How hot was it?
By the way, I got the Super Bowl. Nice. I got Mojo working with the Super Bowl champion Bucs shirt on. It was hot. I finally have recovered and hydrated about 3 days later. I don't want to make excuses, but I'm feeling my mid-50s when I'm out there doing that. As I joked with you, and I'll say it here on this show, Aaron Andrews was next to me, glistening in the heat. And she's looking at me, and I'm like, you used to live here. You know what this is in September with the humidity, and it definitely affected the Eagles, and they wore on them. Just the short version is obviously they made adjustments. They came out focused. They kept saying that after the game. We had a better week of preparation, came out hot. I love Todd Bowles going for it on 4th down. You and I discussed this already, and you elaborated on it on your Monday show, going on the 4th down, up 14-0. Let's make it 21-0. Stay on the gas. Defense turned loose. Levante David still has it. Obviously, it's early in the year. JP, I'm going to say again that this team has enough star, veteran, Super Bowl winning players sprinkled in with the young guys. They can do a lot of damage. If they stay healthy, they can do a lot of damage. I don't know what this is going to look like Thursday night on the short week. Advantage Atlanta, not having to travel.
Yeah, don't overreact if they lay a dud.
Let's see what happens. And maybe they play really well and don't win. I hope they do win. I want them to win every game. It's a happy post-game show. In this case, it's a happy plane ride. I want them to win every game.
Of course.
Well, let's see what this looks like Thursday night. And then you get 10 days before you have the Saints. But that was a very reassuring thing. And you look at the 3 teams they've beaten. Did you get a load of Detroit last night where Jared Goff didn't throw an incompletion?
Washington.
Have you seen the Washington Commanders since the Bucs beat them?
Yes.
And that Philly team is beat up right now, and so they took advantage of that too. And this Atlanta team's not bad either. They've been right in all 4 games at 2-2. So this has been a tough schedule so far. No Carolina Panthers on this schedule. No yet. Arizona Cardinals on this schedule yet to start off the season. So let's see what it looks like on Thursday night. But I got a lot of confidence in the veteran players and in that quarterback. He is leading them right now. 12 for his first 13. Could have had a 400-yard day like we were talking about. Had some passes dropped.
Rashad White didn't get his head around.
Right.
It was on him.
He was on it. Throughout the day. Let's see what it looks like Wednesday night. Levante David is a leader on that defense. Vita Vea makes a huge difference. Good. I know it's early in the year, but the makings are there for this team to be a contender.
I agree.
Which is all you want for late in the year.
They even ran the football, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it well. And they didn't do it like they didn't try to go up the middle at the strength of the Eagles defense. They put it on the perimeter.
That's correct.
We've been trying to run up the middle for 4 years.
And again, Liam Cohen is a work in progress. Okay, what's not working? You love when I bring my props. What's not working? Okay, wait a minute. That's not working. No, we're not doing that anymore. No.
18 times next game, Mr. Canales.
So now let's change it up a little bit. Let's see something different. Let's use the bootleg. Let's use the sweep. Let's use the screens. Wow. Vary it up because teams adjust to you, now adjust to them. I get the ball out quick. I like what we're seeing so far. 4 games in. Let's see if it continues on Thursday night.
Just to top off your Pete Rose story, I got to get this.
Get it,
Christopher Cole. Ohtani gambled, but it got swept under the rug and blamed on someone else. I mean,
I have said this entire calendar year Do we believe it's the interpreter gambling 13, 15 million?
Oh.
And that went away like what's the old cliche?
They even got the FBI involved in that
like
too.
a fart in the wind. That went away. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Mine sure seem to linger. They don't go away.
Gaseous Maximus.
Like a fart in the wind,
Hands up to
TJ says
and like breaking wind, I will now break away and let you conclude your day. Thank you.
I knew that was
the Eagles, by the way. That was the Eagles on Sunday.
That was the Eagle fan.
The last whimper.
That was the Eagle fan that was out there.
One more time as I depart, there's nothing better than watching all of those green-clad clown Tampa Bay residents putting on their Eagle stuff, file out quietly and sunburned and baked in a fourth quarter at Raymond James Stadium. It happened again on Sunday.
You want to hear something funny? Go back and listen to my interview with John Clark from NBC Philly.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
I roasted his Philly fans at the end of the interview in a very polite way to him, but got the point across.
Good.
Enjoy that.
Good for him. Couldn't happen to a more despicable, deserving fan base.
Absolutely.
Keep raising. All right, kids.
We love
Off
you,
to
TJ.
Atlanta
Great
we go.
stories.
I'll be back with you at a later date, and we'll talk more about all things. Thank you for the stuff on Pete Rose. Enjoyed it. And we'll see what happens with the Bucs. We'll see you, brother.
So for all those people like you two that say Pete Rose should have been in the Hall of Fame, he had it. He was right there in his grasp. He shit it away. So Pete Rose.
Oops.
Pete Rose. Right.
That'd be a very Tim thing to do, too.
Yeah.
Thanks, TJ.
See you, boys.
Yeah. If the judge was about to rule in my favor against my ex-wife, I would shut my effing mouth and say, thank you, sir.
Thank you. May I have another?
But no, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
No.
And the moment he had a chance to apologize to the nation, and I don't think Jim Gray should ever ask that question, but you had your opportunity.
I hate Jim Gray.
You had your opportunity. I did. And I'm sorry. I should never have done it. It was miscalculation on my part. The biggest mistake I ever made in my life. I just hope people can forgive me and the writers can forgive me for making a mistake. It's over. Done right there. What writer in his mind could deny such a all bearing yourself in front of the entire nation at the All-Star game where they just honored you? Show some effing respect for the game. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Yep.
He couldn't.
It sucks, man. It sucks.
It was a man that was just cursed with great ability, but cursed with the stubbornness that made him great, would not allow him to truly apologize for what he did. And that's why he's always been kept out. I think that's the biggest reason.
Yeah, and we failed to mention, of course, the passing of Dikembe Mutombo as well.
That was a shocker. Brain cancer, 58.
58 years old, yeah.
What a joy to watch him play and just be himself. That voice and the finger wagging. No, not in my house. It was I loved his commercials.
Oh my gosh, right.
He always had a great smile on his face, played with ferocity. He was awesome. He was awesome.
I used to vacation a lot up in Colorado when he was with the Nuggets up there, and they make the McDonald's that were up there always had these promotions. They called them Mutombo meals.
Yeah,
and it was like an adult Happy Meal, but it was pretty revolutionary at the time. And they always had these big cardboard cutouts of him doing this, that had the little finger going back and forth like that.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny.
What a dude! What a dude! All right, thank you, Timmy. Great stuff today. Our thanks to Matt Matera, who joined us from the Pewter Report. John Clark, if you missed that interview, it was fun. Did that in the 10:15 to 10:30 segment, especially the end of it. That was really fun.
Yeah,
and of course TJ Reeves as well. Timmy, thank you again for everything. Like and subscribe to the podcast. Remember, if you ever missed the show live, it's always available as a podcast on Apple and Spotify. You can always go back and watch it on YouTube at FanStream Sports or the JP Peterson Show, on my Twitter, on Facebook. Please go like and subscribe. Love you, people. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.